Welcome to your America Daily Digest, your trusted 10-minute update on America's top stories in news, politics, trends, and culture. Today is May 20th, 2025. Let's get into today's headlines. 1. Congresswoman faces federal assault charges after ICE facility clash. Federal charges have been filed against Rep. LaMonica McIver of New Jersey for allegedly assaulting law enforcement during a protest at an ICE detention facility. The clash occurred during a tense visit by McIver and other lawmakers, including Newark Mayor Ross Baraka, who was briefly detained. Prosecutors claim McIver impeded officers and disrupted a detainee transport. McIver insists the charges are politically motivated and part of her legal oversight duty. Under federal law, members of Congress are permitted to enter DHS detention facilities without prior notice, highlighting the ongoing tension between immigration enforcement and congressional authority. 2. Thousands of chicks abandoned in USPS truck spark outcry and rescue effort. A Delaware animal shelter is overwhelmed after rescuing over 2,000 chicks left for 3 days in a postal truck, where thousands more died. The birds, shipped from a Pennsylvania hatchery, were abandoned during transit, prompting investigation by USPS. The surviving birds are being adopted out, though few have found homes. The shelter, a no-kill SPCA, is facing financial strain and staff shortages as it cares for the birds around the clock. The state has promised some financial support, but the shelter claims it has yet to receive the needed aid. Some chicks include turkeys and geese, but most are Freedom Ranger chickens. 3. House GOP bill would ban AI regulation by states for a decade. A provision in a House GOP-backed budget bill would ban states from regulating AI for 10 years, prompting backlash from over 100 organizations. Critics say the rule would allow harmful AI systems to go unchecked, even in cases of deepfakes or biased algorithms. The bill contradicts moves by states like Colorado and New Jersey, which have already passed AI laws protecting against discrimination and misinformation. Supporters argue federal consistency is needed, while critics see it as a giveaway to big tech. Meanwhile, Trump is expected to sign the Take It Down Act, banning non-consensual explicit deepfakes, marking rare bipartisan agreement on AI harm. 4. NASA warns of solar flare threats to power and communication systems. NASA is alerting the public to strong solar flares that may disrupt Earth's communications and power grids. A powerful X 2.7 class solar flare erupted on May 14, one of the most intense classifications. The Sun's most active region is now facing Earth, raising concerns about more geomagnetic disturbances. While the radiation doesn't directly harm people on the ground, it can interfere with satellites, navigation systems, and even cause blackouts. Solar storms are caused by tangled magnetic fields on the sun snapping and releasing energy. Previous flares, including an X 1.2 flare just days earlier, show rising solar activity with global impact. 5. ICE issues $1.8 million fine to immigrant ignoring deportation orders. Since 2005, a Honduran immigrant living in Florida for 20 years has been fined $1.82 million by ICE for failing to comply with a 2005 deportation order. The woman, identified only as Maria, says she suffers from anxiety and fears for her life if forced to return. Maria entered the U.S. in 2005 and missed her immigration hearing, resulting in a removal order. ICE recently notified her of the massive fine, which stems from daily penalties over 15 years. Advocacy groups are criticizing the penalty as excessive and punitive, while Maria, a mother of 3 U.S. citizen children, pleads for compassion and relief. 6. Pro-Palestinian activists clash with police at Microsoft Build event. Pro-Palestinian demonstrators disrupted Microsoft's Build conference in Seattle on Monday, protesting the company's cloud services for the Israeli government. Dozens marched from Westlake Park to the Seattle Convention Center, where they tried to breach security barriers. One arrest was made, and several protesters were pepper sprayed by police. Activists accuse Microsoft of enabling Israeli military actions via its Azure cloud platform. Microsoft insists its internal review found no evidence of its technology being used to target civilians in Gaza, though it admits it lacks full visibility. Tensions continue as tech companies face scrutiny over military partnerships. 7. WHO adopts historic pandemic agreement to strengthen global health response. The World Health Assembly has adopted the world's first pandemic agreement, following over 3 years of negotiations. Aimed at ensuring more equitable access to life-saving health products in future pandemics, the agreement was backed unanimously by 124 countries. It outlines coordination on vaccine distribution, supply chains, and pandemic response protocols. Crucially, it respects national sovereignty, stating that WHO cannot impose mandates like lockdowns or vaccine rules. Next steps include finalizing a pathogen access and benefit sharing system and setting up a global supply chain network. This agreement is seen as a vital safeguard for future global health crises. 8. Home Depot stands firm on prices despite tariffs. Home Depot says it has no plans to raise prices in response to new tariffs. CFO Richard McPhail told CNBC that the company's scale and supplier partnerships allow it to absorb the costs. This contrasts with Walmart, which expects to hike prices soon. Despite missing earnings estimates, Home Depot beat sales forecasts, reporting $39.86 billion in revenue for Q1. While the housing market slows, the company is seeing growth among home professionals thanks to its $18.25 billion acquisition of SRS Distribution. Home Depot expects full-year sales to grow 2.8%, and its diverse sourcing strategy continues to shield it from tariff shocks. 9. Federal judge orders legal access for deported Venezuelan man. A federal judge in Texas has ordered the Trump administration to allow attorneys to contact a 24-year-old Venezuelan man deported to El Salvador under the Alien Enemies Act. The man, Widmer Josnader Agelvis Sanguino, was sent to Saco, a supermax prison notorious for human rights abuses, without warning or court hearings, despite arriving in the U.S. legally as a refugee. His only alleged link to criminal activity is a tattoo deemed suspicious by immigration agents. His family insists he is innocent, and advocates say many others deported similarly had no criminal records and underwent rigorous vetting. The judge gave federal authorities 48 hours to restore attorney-client communication, marking the first such order in a broader legal fight over these deportations. Critics argue the mass removals violate due process and target vulnerable refugees with little evidence. 10. The U.S. Supreme Court has allowed the Trump administration to end temporary protected status for over 300,000 Venezuelans, a humanitarian program that shields migrants from deportation and lets them work legally in the U.S. The program had been extended by President Biden until 2026, but Trump's administration sought to revoke it, arguing that national immigration policy must remain flexible and under executive control. Monday's brief order reversed a lower court's block, with only Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson dissenting. Immigrant advocates called the move historically significant and devastating. TPS holders now face uncertainty, with some already planning to leave the country. The decision comes amid a broader crackdown by the Trump administration on migrants, including attempts to deport Venezuelans under the Alien Enemies Act, a rarely used 18th-century law. That wraps up today's Daily Brief. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for your daily dose of clear and concise news. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay informed and take care.